What's up everybody, Derek here with the Bass Factory, and today I'm going to be talking about the 5 things that I learned whenever I started kayak fishing. To start off, I am a beginner. I've only been doing it for about a year with a kayak. I've got probably 5 or plus years with about a 16-foot canoe, so I know how to maneuver bigger, craft and stand up in them and everything. I just haven't had a kayak. I've always been in the canoe. But these are the things that I've basically learned when I started out kayak fishing and really getting into it. It was things that really are helping me to evolve and get better experiences out on the water, and hopefully they'll help you out too. And basically where you want to start off with is getting the kayak that is best suited for you. You don't have to go out there and buy that $1,000, $2,000 kayak. You want to start on something that's a little bit better budget for you, because you want to learn as your experience goes along. You want to learn how to be stable in the kayak. A lot of the cheaper kayaks are not as stable as some of the bigger priced ones and the bigger kayaks themselves. So if you get a 10-foot, I started on just a 10-foot Walmart kayak, so if you start out with that, you should learn a lot about the experiences on the water and the stability and how to maneuver it, because you first want to get into that. You don't want to go out and spend that money, especially if you're down, I don't want to say downgrading, but you're going from one bigger boat like a bass boat or a john boat or some kind of other bigger watercraft that is more stable, and then you're going towards a kayak. You want to learn how it feels on the water, because you may or may not like it. It may not be your preference. You may like fishing from the deck of a boat more often than you do a kayak, but those kayaks can get in a lot more skinny water and get some of those places where a lot of those fish don't receive that big fishing pressure that a lot of the lakes and other places do. So that's one to think of. No. You better get the heck out of here. He doesn't even know I'm here. He does now. All right, my second little tip here is you want to start with a good paddle. You want to get something that's good in your price range. You don't want to go spend like $300, $200, because if you're going on the cheap side on a kayak, it's going to be the same price as that kayak almost. But you've got to think of it this way. That is your motor. That's how you get around. If you don't have that paddle, you're stuck where you're at. And you want to have something that has good bend and is stable and feels good in your hands. You don't want what I started out with, and sometimes I still use it, but it works good, but it's just a click together paddle. It does the job, does its purpose, but you want to get something that is within your budget and something that has comfortability in your hands. You don't want to go spend a whole lot of money, but if you spend maybe $100, $150 starting off, you won't have to go from just the kayak paddle. It comes with one that you buy, or $50, and then you pay another $100 and then $150, and you just keep upgrading. You end up spending more in the long run. So get you a decent paddle. All right, my third tip should be a pretty obvious one, but what you want to do is you want to start out simple. You want to take just your fishing tackle that you might need for just a couple situations. You don't need 6 to 8 rods on the back where it looks like a bunch of antennas. You just need 2 or 3 rods, just something to quickly swap in and out, or in case you break off, you can just grab another rod. But you just want to take just a small gear. You don't want this big tackle bag and all these things that you could have. You want to take the simple stuff and then add on with each trip to see where you're at, and you get more experiences and you get used to being on the water and how to maneuver the kayak. So that's one of the first things that you need to do once you're on the water, is to just do it simple. Go light. All right, number 4 is kind of an add-on to number 3 a little bit, but number 4, you've got to learn how to maneuver this thing. You've got to become proficient in the way that you paddle, the way that you fight the wind, current, any of those things. You've got to learn how to maneuver it and how to get to where you want to go. And you want to learn your stability and the boundaries that you have with your kayak. If you need to stand up, or you need to get a lure that's hung out of a tree or something like that, you've got to learn how to stand up in that thing. So you might want to do that shallow, and go shallow and practice standing up, or practice turning, or practice going in current, or just whatever. But you need to get that experience in of learning how to control this thing, because you don't want to be going down the bank with a strong wind, get it sideways and turn that thing over. You want to learn how to keep this thing upright so you're not in the water later on and losing all kinds of gear. All right, this last tip is a good one, but it's what a lot of people end up doing, where their kayak basically becomes the form of a bass boat or anything else, and that's all the mods. There are so many DIYs and so many, you know, tutorials and all these things and hacks and mods and all this stuff that you can add to your kayak, which is awesome. But starting out, you don't want to do that. You want simplicity from the beginning. So as you go and you just keep taking these experiences out on the water, you can add something here or there. You know, eventually you'll get a depth finder, or, you know, you could add lights because that's safety aspect. And that's another thing you definitely want to have with you as a PFD at all times in case you do turn over. So the safety aspect is definitely a good one to start out with whenever you do go. But the mods, as they come and go with ram mounts on the sides, whether you have the capability of putting a ram mount on your kayak, or just, you know, a milk crate, for example, would be a great example of just one of the first mods you could do just to store your stuff so it's not going to turn over, with a bungee cord or anything just to tie it down. So start small and keep adding on as you go, and there's plenty of information on YouTube and on the internet to learn how to do these mods and do them yourself. And it's cool to do these little mods because you learn how to get to the fish more, and you build that passion for your kayak and for fishing more by doing things on your own. So mod as you go, be simple, and get out there on the water and catch some fish. Subscribe if you haven't already, like this video if you liked it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.